It's Tuesday and I'm here with my Tuesday tips. Today I'm going to talk all about side bending. So specifically I'm going to talk about what is side bending, why should we do it, and then I'm going to give you some tips so that you can do your best side bend and kind of get the most out of the exercise every time you do it so that you get the most benefit from the exercise. So let's start off and let's talk about what exactly is side bending. So there are a variety of exercises in the Pilates method where we side bend. And it is an articulation exercise. So it is an exercise where no matter what specific exercise we're doing, it's an exercise where we anchor our hips and legs into place. And then we try to move through our spine, vertebra by vertebra, segment by segment, so that we can gain more mobility in our back. Right? So why should you do it? When we side bend, we will gain more mobility in our back. Right? So if you feel like you're stiff, you're achy in your back, maybe you don't have the range and movement to do all the things you want to do, side bending will help. Side bending will also help if you're someone who finds, when you do a roll up, a forward curl, and a roll back down, if you have a really hard spot in your back, maybe it's just your spot, which, let's face it, most of us do. If you're having a hard time in any one particular spot, you will find that moving your spine in other directions, not just practicing roll-ups, but practicing things like side bending, will actually help your roll-up get better. So it'll actually improve that because it's going to improve the mobility in your back. All right, so lots of great reasons to do them. So what I want to talk about today when we're side bending is kind of the picky work of side bending. I'm going to start and kind of use our Pilates tower system to show this, but these ideas that I'm talking about are for any exercise that we're side bending. So I'm going to get myself set up. I'm going to move away a little bit here on my tower. First of all, I want to anchor the lower half of my body. Right? Side bending is an articulation exercise, so if we're going to move through our back, we need to have our hips stationary and still, and we have to use our muscles to do that. So I have my feet in a Pilates V behind me. I'm going to squeeze my heels together. I kind of push my hips forward a little bit so that my muscles on my backside fire up. And that's kind of my start position, where from here down is nice and anchored. Now, I have my bar here, and I'm going to press my bar down a little bit under my shoulder. So what happens, what I want to talk about with side bending is what happens a lot with side bending is that there are sections of our spine that are a lot more flexible in the side bending direction. So oftentimes we do a side bend and we think, well, I gotta go to do my best side bend, maybe my biggest side bend. You bend the most through those places in your back. So it might look something like this. For me, this is what that looks like. And you might look at that and go, oh, yeah, that was a pretty good side bend. It's not bad. But what happened is I really just bent down here, right at my waist. I really just kind of moved in one piece, moved my hip out a little bit, and I bent through here because it feels like I can bend more through here. But if our goal is articulation and bending one vertebra at a time, I want to be a little pickier than that. And when I do my side bend, I want to start at the top of my spine. Just like if I was doing a roll up and I was curling up through my neck and my upper back, mid back, low back, I want to do that when I side bend. So I'm going to get my arm in place, and then I want to start by taking my ear to my shoulder so that I start bending through my neck. And then I want to start bending through this upper back portion before I start bending through my low waist. So I want to make it sequential, right? So I'm going to reach and I'm going to try to get bending through there, through there, through there. And that's a lot more work, let me tell you. And then when I stack back up, I think about reversing it. So I think about pulling my stomach in and kind of pulling my low waist back and my middle waist, and then coming up and bringing my head back So it's very sequential. So hopefully you could see that difference a little bit, that I go with my neck, that I'm actively trying to bend through my upper back, mid back. And the lower half of me is working like crazy to not shift or move so that I have a strong place to kind of move through or from would be a better word, and then coming back up. All right, so that is the big idea that I want you to get, is that when you side bend, that kind of picky work of bending one vertebra at a time. That was using our tower system. This could be for any version of side bend. If I'm just sitting here on the mat, right, I might take my arm up. I could practice this sitting. Can I bend my neck? Can I bend through my upper back, mid back? Maybe I'll put my hand here through my low back and coming up and over. And then stacking back up. I always pretend that there's an imaginary wall over here on this side of me, so that I was like stacking me back up against it as I came back up. And what I feel, hopefully you'll feel, to do that kind of picky bending through my spine, I gotta use my core muscles a lot, right? If I just do this, I mean, it's some good movement. There's nothing, I'm not hurting myself or anything to do this, but it's not a lot of work. I'm not feeling that core work. Right? So to be able to bend through my neck, upper back, mid back, low back, and not move through that low back area until I kind of get there, takes a lot of extra core work through my back. All right, so that is my Tuesday tips for today. Some little tips on side bending. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you tried out. I would love to hear from you, and I'll see you next week.